What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm going to be doing a Mathmech deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an amazing deck that's been doing extremely well in the meta recently. It's super fun to be able to play to make some absolutely crazy boards, and I have some really spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Mathmech Circular. This card is an awesome 3 on the deck that's basically a 1-card combo. It has the ability to send a Mathmech monster, except another copy of this card, from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, which is a great effect to just instantly get this card out on your side of the field by sending your copy of Mathmech Sigma from your deck to the graveyard. It also has an awesome effect that you can, if a Mathmech monster is normal or special summoned to your field while you control this monster, then you can add a Mathmech spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which you can then just special summon out your copy of Sigma that you sent to the graveyard to actually summon out this card, which will get you a search and directly into a copy of Alambertium, which is amazing about this card. We then played 2 copies of Mathmech Diameter. Mathmech Diameter is a definite 2 of in the build. I did consider playing this card as a 3 of in the deck, but it's so searchable, I ended up cutting it down to 2. This card is a great effect that when this card is normal summon, you can target a level 4 Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects, and a Mathmech monster that was Synchro or XZ summoned using this card in the field as a material gains a following effect that once per turn. During the turn, this card was special summoned when your opponent activates a card or effect. Quick effect, negate that effect, which is awesome to be able to make one of your XZ monsters into a walking negate. We then play 2 copies of Mathmech Sigma. Sigma is a really awesome 2 of in the deck. This card helps out so much to be able to send off your copy of Circular, and it does special summon itself back to your side of the field, which is an awesome effect. I really like this card as a 2 of the build just in case one gets banished, and it's really good to be able to play in the deck. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Nabla. Nabla is a really good 1 of the deck. This card helps you OTK the opponent because you can actually tribute a Cyberse monster, especially summon a Mathmech monster from your deck. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, then you can target a Cyberse monster you control in the extra monster zone, and it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn, which is a crazy good effect to help you OTK your opponent, especially with all the really big monsters we play in this deck. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Addition. This card is great as a 1-up in the deck. It's super good as an extender because it lets you target a face-up monster on the field, special summon this card to your side of the field, and if you do that, monster gains 1,000 attack points, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Subtraction. Subtraction does the exact same thing as Addition, but it reduces the monster down by 1,000, which is just really good to help you OTK the opponent, and it's a great extender in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Firewall Defensor. Firewall Defensor is really good as a 3 of in the deck because this card is an awesome normal summon, because if this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, then you can special summon a Firewall monster from your deck, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to just instantly get a copy of one of your Firewall Guardians on your side of the field off this card's ability. It also has the ability if a Firewall monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, then you can banish this card from your graveyard instead, which is a really good effect to be able to just protect your copies of your monsters. We then play a single copy of Firewall Guardian. Firewall Guardian is what you summon off your copy of Defensor, and it's just a really good 1-of in the deck just to help you in so many ways, because if this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field, which is just great to be able to use this card as an extender. We then play 2 copies of Parallel XZ. Parallel XZ is really good as an extender in this particular deck because if you link summon a monster, you can special summon out another copy of Parallel XZ to your side of the field along with the one in your hand, and make them both level 4 and 1,000 attack and 1,000 defense, which is just amazing to get 2 monsters on your side of the field. I love that about this card, that if you do link summon, you can just special summon this card from your hand to a zone that link monster points to, and then follow it up with an additional copy of Parallel XZ from the deck, giving you 2 monsters on your side of the field to either make a rank 4 play or make a link 2, which is just really amazing. So that's it for the Cyberse and Mathmech cards. Let's get into the hand traps. So for the hand traps, we're going to start off with a single copy of Santa Claus. Santa Claus is really good as a one-of in this particular deck. He's really amazing because this card actually is a small world bridge, which is really cool because this card is a light monster. That the only thing it has in common with your copy of Circular is that it is a light monster, which is really awesome. You can also use this card as a kaiju, and he just is basically the gift that keeps giving because you give it to your opponent and out their big boss monster, which is really nice. This card is basically a kaiju, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is amazing as a 3 on this deck just to stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's one of the best hand traps this format. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is insane right now. This card is definitely a 3 of in the deck because this card just basically stops your opponent from searching for the rest of the turn, which is amazing. This card is so powerful right now, and it's a definite 3 of in this build. We then play 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This card is great at popping cards on the field, and it's just a really good card going forward in the format. We then play 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is amazing right now because this card just negates monster effects, and it's really good in this particular deck. We then also play 3 copies of Gamma and a single copy of Driver. This is just to negate monster effects, and it's a really good card to be able to protect your small world as you're trying to go for your copy of your Circular. This card is really good in the deck to give you so much protection, and it's a definite 3 of in the build to line up with all the rest of our hand traps. So that's it for the hand traps, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is amazing as a 1 of the deck just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. It's basically like additional copies of Gamma to have you 4 interruptions against your opponent while you're trying to resolve your copy of Small World. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Equation. Equation's really good in this deck to be able to use this card to bring back one of your Mathmechs to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Signet Mining. Signet Mining is definitely a 3 on the deck to be able to search out the exact card you need from your deck to your hand, because this card is basically the Rhoda from the deck, because it has the ability to send a card from your hand to the graveyard to add a level 4 lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect. We then play 3 copies of Small World. Small World is amazing in this particular deck to be able to get to your copy of Circular. You can use all of your hand traps to be able to get to your copy of your Circular, which is really amazing, especially your copy of Santa Claus, because you can, for example, reveal a copy of Effect Veil in your hand, then reveal Santa Claus in the deck, and then get to your copy of Circular, because they only have light in common, which is amazing. It's super good in this particular deck to be able to get to any card that you basically need off the Small World, and there's so many different bridges in the deck with this card to be able to get to the exact cards that you need. It's really powerful in this deck as a 3-up, and it's amazing what you can do with this card. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a single copy of Mathmech Super Fractoral. This card is amazing to help you make an XZ monster out of your extra deck, because it has a great effect to be able to target 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard with different names to activate one of these effects. You either use all 3 of those monsters to synchro summon into a card, or you special summon them and make an XZ monster that's a Mathmech card. It's amazing that you can make either a really powerful Mathmech synchro monster or a really powerful Mathmech XZ monster off this card's effect. I love this card as a 1-of in the deck because it's so searchable off of so many cards, which is why we play this card just as a 1-of. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Alum Bersham. Alum Bersham is definitely a 2 of the deck. This card is amazing because it has the ability that you can detach materials off this card, and depending on the amount of cards you detach depends on the effects that you get. To be able to, if you detach 2, add a Mathmech card from your deck to your hand, which is the card we're always activating, or the effect we're always activating on this card. It also has a great effect that you can tribute a monster and then special summon a level 4 Mathmech monster from your hand or graveyard, which is a really good effect to be able to use to get the exact exact Mathmech card you want on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of the other Mathmech XZ monster. This card is basically a walking Trishula. It's amazing because it has the ability that basically that cards, if a Mathmech cards you control would be destroyed by card effect, then you can detach a material from this card instead. And if this XZ summon card is on the field, then you can detach up to 3 materials from this card and then choose that many effects, and you cannot activate the same effect twice. And you can resolve them in the listed order, which is really cool. It basically lets you send a monster that your opponent controls, or basically has the ability that you can send a monster that your opponent controls to the graveyard, send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, or send a spell or trap card your opponent controls to the graveyard, which is absolutely insane that you can use all those effects. This card is definitely a one-of in the deck, and the card we're usually making off our Super Fractoral. When this card is XZ summon, it just gets those really good effects. We then play a single copy of Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz. This card is amazing. It's basically how we OTK the opponent, and it's such a powerful card in this deck as a one-up. It's such a good card because it negates any monster effect activated by your opponent during the battle phase, which basically means you're going to OTK your opponent. And once per turn, you can send a Cyberse monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card gains the attribute of that monster sent to the graveyard. Also, it gains 2,500 attack points, and you can only affect this card once per turn, and it also has a great effect that this card can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of different attributes it has, which it starts with Dark, giving you so many attacks on this card. This card is amazing in the deck. We then play a single copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker is really good because you can pop multiple cards on the field, and this card is just absolutely amazing as a one-of in the deck. We then play a single copy of Decode Talker Heat Soul. This card basically says draw 2, which is amazing. I love that about this card because it has the ability that once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, which is a quick effect, and then draw a card. So you can activate this card effect on your turn when you link summon this card, and then during your opponent's turn, and if it lives through that turn, you're going to draw another card during your following turn. So this card just helps you dig into the deck for more hand traps, and even dig into the deck for more combo pieces. We then play a single copy of Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker is basically Walking Monster Reborn, which is amazing, and helps you go in for your copy of your Dark Fluid. We then play a single copy of Update Jammer. Update Jammer just helps you OTK in the deck. It's really good in this particular deck as a one-of, and it's a definite one-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Splash Mage. Splash Mage is great as a 2-of in the deck. This card is really good because it lets you target a Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon in defense position. This card is a card I did consider dropping down to 1 to play the copy of the Final Sigma in the deck, but this card is amazing to be able to play as a 2-of, to be able to use this card as a Monster Reborn. We then play a single copy of Witkid. Witkid is really good in this deck to be able to just use with your tuner monsters, and it's really good as a one-of. We then play a single copy of Lingeribo. Lingeribo is great in this deck to be able to use as your first link summon, and also protects you from evenly matched and infinite impermanence. We then play a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is also a really good card because it's a link 1, so it makes it very easy to get your cards off your side of the field and start link climbing. 1 copy of Link Spider. Link Spider does come in handy in the deck as a one-of in case you need to turn your copy of your driver into a Cyberse monster, and it's super helpful in this deck as a one-of, especially to out Nibiru tokens. We then play a single copy of Cyberse Desaveworm. Desaveworm is a good one-of in the deck. This card is a spell trap negate, which is why I play this card as a one-of, because you can banish it from the graveyard to give you that protection, which is really good. This card is a definite one-of in the build. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played Mathmech recently, you should definitely give this deck a try, because this deck is meta. It's super fun to be able to play. It's absolutely crazy the amount of plays that you can actually play in this deck. If you guys would like to play the copy of Final Sigma in the deck, which I'm not playing this particular list, you can change out a single copy of Splash Mage for it. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come to our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.